the original Season 3, Episode 4, A Walk on the Wild Side. I think this episode is really good because it not only gave us a lot of the characters kind of confronting each other pretty much the entire time. It was like Marcel's dealing with this whole thing with his daylight ring being gone. Of course, we have Elijah's, at least like the most important people of Elijah's sire line, all focusing their hatred towards both Lucian and Klaus during the one scene. We have Aurora is revealed to be back by the end of this episode, and she killed the witch, so she totally had a reason to do that, which I think was just she knew that, she may have known some things like exactly who Lucian was dealing with and who this woman was, so she killed her off. And then we have Elijah himself is still kind of in this weird sort of middle ground where he's not exactly on friendly terms with Tristan and the rest of the Strix, but he's still their sire and he still knows that they're trying to protect him, but he also knows that they may or may not be coming after his brother. So it's still like this crazy little, it's almost like a future whodunit type of thing, because we still don't really know who the main threats are, and is like trying to figure out who did it before they actually do it. So this was a great episode for that, because that's kind of been the point once they introduced this whole secret war thing happening. And then this episode was just like everyone was thrown in one place, at least for one scene. Every single person was in this house, and it was really cool. I enjoyed that about this episode because we got to see a lot of tension. We got to get quite a bit of history. We learn about the Strix and how they have tons of famous people, are a part of Elijah's sire line. We find out why Elijah, young Elijah, he was going through, he wanted to build a new family that wanted to change the world for the better and needed a long lifespan to do that. And then, as he said, he left them because he realized he just sired a bunch of megalomaniacal maniacs. And so, now it's just a bunch of crazy people, and he didn't want to deal with that, and he made a legion of people instead of just a family that wanted to work together to change the world for the better. So I liked all the little bits of story that we got from everyone. This episode definitely showed a lot of Tristan compared to what we've seen before. Like, before he was just flashbacks, he was just the angry brother. And we'd gotten, a couple of conversations, but this really showed what he's like as sort of the leader of the Strix. And we got this weird sort of thing, at the end of the episode when Marcel had to fight the one guy, and it's like he decided not to kill him, and he was saying, I don't know why they want you dead, but for whatever reason they do. And then, Tristan explains, he deserved it because he was, plotting schemes against, his own people. So they don't really take too kindly to certain things. It showed us a lot about who these people are and exactly what they really, mentally, how they're contemplating certain ideas. And I kind of enjoy that. I thought it was actually really cool. I was like, it was a pretty fun episode. I like this story, this stuff that happened with Marcel, where he was the first, or, is the first to, become a part of the Strix, and that's a huge deal because he's the first person not of Elijah's sire line, but they want him there. And then we find out at the end when he gets the blood from Klaus that what he wants to do is basically kind of be a fly on the wall inside of the Strix. That way he knows what's happening with Elijah's sire line, and that way he can kind of stop anyone that's trying to go after Klaus, because of course they would be going after him as well. So I love everything about this episode. It was just really fun. It was sort of a subtle episode, but there was a lot happening in it, and it was definitely entertaining. They had, all the stuff like Elijah being a big deal when he goes into the party with Hayley. Hayley helping out Marcel. Marcel figuring out exactly what happened. He knows that, he knew that the one guy had the ring and exactly how to beat him because he was given all the answers to do it ahead of time. And that was just a part of the game because they wanted this guy killed. And, they knew Marcel just had to be smart. And if he was, then he would have figured it out. And he certainly did. And it was just crazy. It was just a lot of interesting things happening. By the end, I think a lot of the characters were bonded much stronger as well because they knew, they got a much clearer understanding of the threat that they faced. Because even when they saved the witch, or, yeah, I guess she was a witch. Yeah, they saved the witch. when they find out that she's poisoned, that's when they all kind of realize, like, we really do need to stick together. They don't get the answers that they wanted because, of course, she's killed, so we don't really get to see what happens. But now we know, like, the whole ending was just like, well, I don't need to leave because I've seen the future, and Lucian definitely fails. Lucian fails, and Klaus is killed. So now we're still left with this question, like, exactly what killed Klaus, or what's supposed to kill Klaus. So there's a lot happening. I certainly enjoyed it. We got, like, just lots of little things. We had Hayley at the end when she was talking with Elijah about the family and stuff, and she said she would begin with always and forever. So that was a pretty cool moment. And at that point when Klaus was drinking and he saw the little note from Freya where she's like, "This is your heads up that I'll be staying home all day." And he actually writes thanks, which is something we don't see. Like, Klaus doesn't really smile and stuff like that. I mean, he was smiling a lot because he was drunk most of this episode, so we did see that quite a bit in this one. But there was a much stronger bond in this episode after they heard, like, things aren't vague anymore. It was like, I saw Klaus lose, and Lucian will fail to save his creator. So yeah, I think that kind of brought everyone together at the end, and people now know, like, where things are lying and how dangerous things are going to be, and no one really knows 100% that it's Tristan, and no one knows 100% that it wasn't, even though obviously she died in his house. She was poisoned while inside the house, so it does make it seem like Tristan, but he had a really awesome one. It was such a small scene, but I loved it when he's saying everything, and it's like, what better way to prove, or to get rid of proof that I'm not the one that's going to attack anyone than to kill off your own prophet, basically. And then Elijah, like, grabs him by the face, and he's like, "Your words are no more." I can't remember the exact words he said, but it was like, it was either tempting or something like that. But he was like, "Your words are basically no different than Lucian's." And then he just sits, he's like, kind of thrusts him back in the chair, and he just walks away. And I was like, that was a really badass scene. It was so quick and such a tiny little moment, but it was definitely awesome, and I really enjoyed that. The scene where Lucian and Klaus crashed the party to go in and save the woman, that was actually pretty funny. And they're walking around, and Klaus is like, I used to be jealous that I couldn't get into your exclusive little club, but now, it doesn't really bother me. I lack the flexibility to shove my head, so far up my own ass. I thought that was definitely really funny. And it was just a fun scene. And they're going through, they have their nice little plan and stuff. One thing that was really interesting, and this is just like an editing thing that they kind of messed up on, when Klaus drinks the wine in front of Tristan, or the champagne, I guess, he drinks the whole thing and he's like, cheap. And then they have the next scene where he's walking past him and there's still champagne in the glass. So they did that scene before he drank it, or they just refilled it and they kind of edited that in, and they just did it because that was just the best shot. Sometimes that happens that way. But I definitely noticed it because they made a point of him drinking the whole thing because they were getting kicked out. And he was like, cheap. And then the very next scene, you can see sideways, the glass was like that full still. And I was like, that's kind of funny that they had to edit it that way. But, sometimes you just have no other real choice. But I certainly enjoyed this episode. It was definitely entertaining. I liked the tension of this secret society invitation sort of thing. It was really fun to watch. I certainly enjoyed it. Marcel having his daylight ring stolen was pretty cool. And him having this weird sort of mystery to deal with, I thought was actually really fun. So I really love this episode. And I'm actually very excited to see where they take things now that we have this less vague notion of what's to come. Like, basically, it's like Klaus lost. That's where we're at right now, and we have no more visions to help us. It's just, we gotta go with what we gotta go with. We have to figure out how to survive, and so now everyone's kind of bonded a little bit more, and the only people, even Lucian is kind of in the main fold now because they seem to, really trust him, and I don't see, at this point, I don't see why they wouldn't either. But we still don't really know. Maybe it's neither of them. Maybe it really is just Aurora, and she's the whole issue. Like, Tristan could seriously not have a problem, and they might be arguing because they just assume that it's the other person trying to take out, the other original. But it could seriously all just be Aurora, and it's like, nope, she's the one trying to kill both of them. And it's just because she hates them both for whatever reason. I don't even know, honestly. I mean, I don't see why she would try to kill Elijah, considering that he is the sire of her own brother. But at the same time, she seems like she's really crazy, and she got back in town and totally hid herself and killed this woman, while hidden in plain sight. So there's a lot going on with her character that we don't truly understand. She's clearly a bit insane. And in the next episode, it's actually going to be a focus of her talking with Klaus and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. Right now, she's the real wild card. Everyone else seems like they're just trying to protect. Lucian's trying to protect Klaus. Tristan's trying to protect Elijah. And then we have Aurora, who's just like, who knows? She's kind of crazy. She killed those monks. She could have just left. I'm pretty sure she had enough power to just leave, but instead she lost it and killed all those guys and then left afterwards. So for now, she's the crazy wild card. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I like this episode, and I definitely want to know what you guys thought. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I think one of the big things about this episode for me was definitely Marcel's introduction into the Strix and his his success into joining this very elite group that initially was only a part of this Elijah Sire line. So I want to know what you guys think is going to happen now that he's joined the Strix, and how they're going to, how he's going to use them and how they're going to use him. Because of course, if they really are trying to kill Klaus, they're going to get secrets out of him just like he's going to try to get secrets out of them. And it might be easier for him because, it's so many people around him saying stuff, and he's the only person that can give away any sort of secrets. But I feel like it's going to be a two-way street where both sides are going to try to get answers about, their respective sires. So I want to know your speculations as for what's going to happen. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.